What's up, guys? It's your boy Ethan. Hope you're having a great day. Welcome back to the video on the channel, and it is midnight right now, 11:45 on a nice Saturday night, and we're here. We're doing something different here. A little late night D-Gen action. Starting off the session here, and we're gonna see what happens. Gonna see what we're gonna walk into. We're gonna hop into some 1-3 most likely. The action's gonna be great. We're in for a late night, and yeah, besides that, music's loud, and we're gonna see what happens. So we'll get in some hands pretty soon, and let's run it up. I walked in there at midnight and was expecting to have a full room, but unfortunately the room just wasn't too packed, and there wasn't a whole lot of action or good tables going around. So I spent a lot of the time just walking around the room, scouting out some tables, trying to find a decent one with some decent action, and we actually ended up hopping around to 4 different tables. So on our 4th table, we finally find a table with some pretty deep stacks and some decent action. So let's go ahead and talk about some things. So the first hand in 2 hours, we have pocket 9s in the cutoff, and this is actually my first hand at this new table here. We have 350 in our stack. The under the gun player, who's an older gentleman, opens it up to $10. Action folds to me, and here the pocket 9s probably could be flatting this, especially since it's my first hand at the table. But here, let's just take the aggressive route in position with a pretty decent hand. So I go ahead and 3-bet to $30. Folds all the way back to him, and he makes the call. So we're off to a flop, which comes deuce, 3, 4, 2 diamonds out there. Shouldn't really be hitting his under the gun opening range too often. So here with my overpair, let's try to charge the max for draws and deny some equity from overcards. So I go ahead and bet $50, and he quickly folds. So first hand at this new table, off to a good start. Following hand, we have ace-king offsuit on the button and sitting around 360 in our stack. An aggressive middle position player opens it up to $20. He's been opening really large, so assuming he's just really aggressive and he likes to be really aggressive pre-flop, there are actually 2 callers to me and actions onto me now on the button. Being in position of all 3 players and also all 3 players cover me, sitting 360 effective isn't great as I'd like to be a lot deeper, but we gotta build our stack somehow. So here with ace-king offsuit on the button, let's try to isolate some of these players and get it heads up maybe. So I 3-bet to a sizing of $95. It folds back to the pre-flop middle position player, and he folds. The other 2 players fold as well, so we take it down $60 pre-flop. Definitely sized up here with ace-king offsuit, but since they're so deep, I was hoping they would make the call and, you know, see what happens from there, but we'll take down the dead money as well. Third hand of note that I have, we have king 9 of diamonds on the button. There are 2 limpers to me, and here it's pretty loose for sure, but on the button in position, we can't really screw this up too bad. So I raise king 9 suited to $18, and we only get 1 caller, who is the on the gun plus 1 limper. So we got to isolate, and we're heads up. Flop comes jack 10 for 2 spades and a diamond note there, so we do actually flop some equity. When he checks us, we're definitely going to be c-betting this board with a gutter ball and backdoor diamond draws. So I bet $25, and he makes the call. We're off to a turn, hoping to improve. Turn comes the 6 of hearts, brick city of a turn, and when he checks to me here, it's pretty suicidal to go ahead and continue betting here, so I'm just going to check it back. We're off to river. River comes the 5 of spades, so the front door flush gets there. He throws out a tiny bet of $25, and this is just weird. Like, is he really trying to value bet a 10 or trying to induce a bluff here? Anyways, I'm sitting with king high, and there's really an easy decision to make, which is just to let it go. It's pretty boring, I know, but we fold and we're moving on. Hand after that, we have 10-8 of spades in the big blind, and there are 4 limpers to a small blind player who raises to $16. He is the biggest stack of the table and seems to be pretty recreational, so not necessarily having to be nutted, and also a pretty small raise considering that there's 4 limpers out there. Let's try to isolate him in position and see where things go, since he easily covers us, and we're just going to mix things up because we've also been pretty card dead. So I go ahead and 3-bet to $50. It folds all the way back to him, and he goes ahead and just does the very orthodox and normal thing to do, is 4-bet jam his entire stack in, so $380 effective. Here, 10 high, not really a decision to be had here. I'm gonna have to fold, but that's the kind of player in the table that we're playing with. It's going to be a fun time. Let's just try to pick up a hand one of these times when they could spaz out. Next hand, we have ace 4 offsuit on the button. We're playing 6-handed, and a cutoff player, the player to my right, limps, and here going to be raising up my ace here, playing short-handed in position as well. So I raise to $15, and only the limper in the cutoff makes the call. Flop comes 9-5 deuce, 2 clubs out there. So we flop a gutter ball, flop the backdoor nut flush draw, and he leads out into me for $20. Here, having decent amounts of equity on this board, I go ahead and call it $20, and we're off to a turn. Turn comes another 9, so not really the best card in the world. He once again throws out another bet of $20. Probably should just be shutting down here, but he did price me in so much, and it doesn't improve our backdoor clubs as well, so definitely should be folding, but calling for the gutter ball because I don't think my ace is good here a lot of the time. But I go ahead and call like a huge fish, and we're off to a river. The river comes another 9. So what in the world is happening, and what could he possibly have? He once again fires and leads out again for the third time of $45. I can't do a whole lot with ace high. He might have middle pair, like a pair of 5s that turn into a boat. Even then, I don't think he can fold to a raise, but here sitting with ace high, can't really be doing a whole lot, so I just go ahead and fold. It is 3 a.m. and I have not picked up anything. I'm in the game for $480. I'm sitting with like maybe $350 in front of me. So that's that. That's all I got. Down a little bit, I guess. Down like 200 bucks. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I'm actually running not great. I'm not picking up cards. I'm kind of forcing it a little bit because it's been playing for 3 hours and I haven't really picked up much. I picked up kings and queens twice, opened pre, got folds on a pretty active table, but I'm sitting on a table with some big stacks. We'll see how long I can play for, but want to check in, mid-session update, and yeah. So that's it.
Sucks.
I do suck. So just mid-session update, wanted to check in, and so we're gonna see how the night goes. Anyways, that's it. That's all I got. I'm gonna hop back in there. Big stacks. Hopefully we can just kind of find something, pick up a hand, and get some value and chip up again. But we will get back to you and report back. And did you join the table?
What?
Did you join the table yet?
Oh, I put on chest list.
Let's go. Run it up, man.
Ethan, take it easy, buddy. I'll see you over there, bro.
Run it up. Next hand we got going on, we have pocket 10s in early position. An early position player who's been fairly tight, he limps. I go ahead and raise this up to $20, trying to isolate him, also playing late night, so the raise sizes are going to be a little bit bigger moving forward, and he makes the call. So off to a flop, which comes 8 high. It's 8-4-5, 2 hearts out there. He goes ahead and donk leads $30 into me, and this is just really strange. Not sure what he could be donk leading with. It's definitely a very connected and wet board for sure. But here, I don't really want to overplay one pair right now. I just don't know what his range is, to be honest. So I just go ahead and make the call. So we're off to a turn. Turn comes a 6, so 4-liner out there on the board, and he once again bets $30. He's sizing down on this turn bet here, effective to the size of the pot. So really strange as to what's going on here, but I think pocket 10s just cannot be folding just yet. Obviously, I lose to 8-7, which is a pretty reasonable holding for him to have, but for this price with an overpair, I'm going to call and evaluate a river. The river is pretty good for us. It is a 5 of diamonds, so it improves our 2-pair holding, and it counterfeits some 2-pair holdings like 8-4, 8-6, 6-4. That's about it, but once again, he bets $30. I'm not folding for this price once again. If he's going to bet $30 all through streets, we're going to see what happens. So I go ahead and just make the call. He shows ace-9 of diamonds, so he didn't have much of anything at all, but I'll take it down for sure. Next hand is an interesting one because, well, you'll see. We have ace-queen offsuit in the big blind with 430 in our stack. There are 2 limpers to me, and here I finally picked up a hand. You have no idea how long I've been waiting to pick up like a legitimate hand. And here we finally have one, so I raise it up to $23 over 2 limpers. Only a late position player who limps makes the call, and he covers us by a little bit. We're off to a flop, which comes ace-6-6 rainbow. Here, out of position, this ace smashes my range a lot since I did raise pretty big. So I'm just going to check for deception here. He goes ahead and tries to stab $30. Here, obviously, I'm not going to be raising. Don't want to overplay my ace. I think check raising here is a little stupid, and I'm just going to lose him. So I go ahead and make the call of $30, and we're off to a turn. Turn comes a 7. I go ahead and check once again, planning on just check calling here, and he counts out $50 in red chips. He counts it out in his stack and ends up checking. So that's a really strange result, but we're off to a river. Let's try to get some value. Going to be betting a lot of the rivers here. The river comes a queen, so it's an awesome river for us. We improve the top 2 pair. I think a lot of aces are going to be thinking that they're going to be chopping here. So it's an amazing card, and I go for an overbet. Got to lead out and got to go for value. I go ahead and bet $160. He tanks for a fairly long time. He thinks it over and ends up making the fold. So we don't get any value from there. Probably could have gotten value from a $40, $50, $60 bet, but I really wanted to go for maximum value, go for maximum pressure, and try to have him make the call, but he made a good laydown, and we're moving on. Hand after that, we have 9-7 of spades in the small blind. An early position player opens it up to $15, and there are 2 or 3 callers to me, and I'm gonna have to call. So regardless, calling in this with this marginal hand out of position, not ideal, but we're taking this to the flop 5 ways. The flop comes Jack 4, 5, 2 spades out there, so we do in fact flop the flush draw. The pre-flop raiser in early position bets $40. Folds all the way back to me, and here not going to be folding with the flush draw and some backdoor straight draw opportunities. So we're off to a turn which comes the Jack of clubs. This is not a great card for us. So here just going to check and probably folding a lot on this turn card, but he throws out a bet of $65. Really priced in to make the call here. I think it's a little too nitty to fold since we're beautifully priced in. So I call the $65 and we're off to a river. The river comes the 8 of spades, and here we actually hit our flush draw. With a 9 high flush, let's try to get some value from trips here. It's a pretty vulnerable flush since it's pretty small, but here obviously we're gonna have to bet for value. So I go ahead with a small tiny bet of $40. He snaps it off, and I show my 9 high flush, and he shows ace jack of spades. He didn't raise me because we're pretty friendly here, so shout out to Alex for winning that one. Nice hand, buddy. The last interesting hand of note that we will go over, it's a pretty interesting one, probably the most interesting one of this video, so let's go ahead and jump right into it. We have 8-6 of diamonds under the gun +1. It's a 4-way limped pot to the small one. Yes, I did limp 8-6 of diamonds. What am I doing here? It's late night, I'm bored. We're gonna mix it up. So there's 4 limpers to the small blind with about 300 in a stack. He raises things up to $25, and I am in here because 5 whole people make the call. That's right, you heard it. There are 6 players to the flop. The small blind player, I don't think he'll ever be doing this light or squeezing, so definitely seems like he's got a pretty decent value hand for sure to be raising up to this sizing. So we're taking the flop 6 ways, and the flop comes queen 10-7, 2 hearts and a diamond out there. So we flop just a good old gutter ball, and that's about it. Small blind, who raised pre, checks, and the big blind goes ahead and throws out a bet of $35. Actually, it's on to me. I can't fold for $35 no matter how small it is. There's 150 in the middle. Like, what's going on? So I call the $35, and surprisingly enough, everyone else folds, which is really interesting. So we went from 6 to heads up, and let's go to a turn. Turn comes the 4 of clubs. We actually improved to a double gutter, and once again, he throws out the same bet of $35. What am I supposed to be doing here? I can't be folding, and raising seems a little bit off. And I think raising is a little suicidal because even if he is on the flush draw, I can't really bet him out. So let's go ahead and just make the call of $35, very priced in. Let's go to a river, which comes the ace of hearts. Ace of hearts, flush draw gets there, an overcard gets there, and he once again throws out another bet, the 3rd time, betting $35. I have $263 in my stack, sitting with 8 high. Do we go for it? I think about it for a little bit. He's betting $35 all 3 streets. It doesn't seem like he has a flush ever. Maybe a pair of queens with a decent kicker. Regardless, the pot is huge, and this big blind player covers me by a ton, so there's only one sizing we can go with that to win this here. So I go ahead and stick it all in, $263 total, and he goes well into the tank. He thinks about it for a long, long time, and I'm sitting here sweating. This is a ridiculous bluff, 8 high, and where you need to fold here, and he thinks about it, ends up making the fold. Phew, we got that one through, and we're obviously going to show it. It's great for the table, it's great for the image, and it's so late. So we showed the 8 high with diamonds, and he said it was a nice bet. So we take it down, and winning this pot was actually huge for us. Walking out of here, session just ended, cashed out. These are the results, not even a bullshit anything. We played for about 5 hours, and that was the result. We needed that fold. We needed that guy to make his lay down when we had 8 high and the flush got there. So that was cool. We were either going home with no money or as much money as we came in here with. So at the end of the day, this degen session and experiment went okay. We were carded the whole time, but we were on literally one of the best tables ever. People were playing so deep. It was basically like a 2-5 against some really not the best players out there. Really would love to pick up some cards, but we're leaving out of here at 6 a.m. because we are just a huge degenerate. Anyways, thanks for tuning in. Appreciate you guys watching. Leave a like if you enjoyed. smash that subscribe button if you haven't already. 60% of you guys haven't subscribed yet to the channel, so if you can do that, please do that. And thanks for following along, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.